Hello, I'm Brian from Perfect Circuit, and today we are looking at the Elta Music Solar 50. This is a 50 oscillator big ambient machine, and it certainly does not lie. It delivers big sounds, it delivers ambient sounds, it delivers a huge amount of oscillators. So let's dive a little bit deeper in this, shall we, and look at a couple patches, hear what it sounds like, break it down a bit, and stay tuned. So the Solar 50, as I mentioned, its name, 50, stems from the fact that there are 50 oscillators inside of this. They are 50 saw wave oscillators, so you can certainly challenge Paul Bunyan to a lumberjack contest. How we have it broken down, if you look at the touch plate, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 touch plates that correspond to 10 banks of 5 oscillators. That's how we get 50. So if you look at each of these banks, we'll take a look at this one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 individual tuning potentiometers for the different oscillators. The oscillators are not all the same. They are tuned slightly differently. We start with the lowest here up to the highest here, and they're all a little bit off, and that is one of the joys of this machine. It should be mentioned that you might notice there's no screen. If you look at the back, there's no input for MIDI. There's no input for pitch CV. This is a self-contained galaxy unto itself, and that is really how it should be treated. These red buttons up here, they engage the different oscillators. Starting with the lowest, it can go all the way down to pseudo modulation rates. Here's the second voice, third voice. So as you can see, they go up in pitch significantly. Of course, you can engage all of them. You can tune them to each other. One very cool thing is this pitch knob right here. This will detune all of them simultaneously, and once you get to a certain point, they actually start to interject some frequency modulation into their neighboring oscillators. So you can get some very peculiar sounds very easily by just turning a few knobs. Each of these oscillator sections also have their own attack and release envelope. You can adjust it to be somewhat quick to exceptionally long. Again, this is big ambient, so we can get some really nice swells, some very long releases. Let's take a listen at something that's, we have noon and noon at both of them. Turn the pitch down. So that's not too bad. All the way at the max. Get some very nice swells and textures happening. Imagine having all 10 of these, very slow, various attacks, various releases, and you can just swim on through. Another very interesting feature of these, you will see all of these little eggs. They are in fact not eggs. They are light-sensitive photoresistors, and they are wired to each of these individual oscillators, engaged with these white buttons, and it gives you a little bit of subtle, or sometimes a little bit of extreme, pitch modulation. So let's turn on a couple. So imagine if you had some sort of light, like a flashlight or LED, and decided to whip it around. It's cool. One of the fun things about this instrument is its ability to challenge your idea of conventional tunings and conventional pitched material. You have to rely on your ears if you want something that is heavily tonal, heavily melodic. Even if you want something that is a little more chaotic, but still a little bit controlled, you do have to spend some time fine-tuning and listening to what's happening. And what that does is creates a very intimate relationship between you and this instrument, because it requires just a little bit of love and care. Aside from the oscillators, we also have a few interesting modulation sources. We have two LFOs right here. They can morph from triangle to square. We have outputs here, patch points, just 3.5 millimeter. We also have several patch points in all of the different oscillator sections. It can go to the CV mod. In case you don't want to use this little egg right here, you can actually put in external CV or LFO right into there to have some more modulation. You can also manually trigger with this gate input. You can also take the envelope out from each of the oscillator sections. Here, the T goes to here. T is for trigger. So what we have here are +5 volt trigger outs. They're also touch sensitive plates. You can patch these wherever you want. In one of my patches, I will be patching this to one of the parameters of the cartridge effector, which brings us to the cartridge effector. This contains a nice little cartridge slot. We have a cartridge here, and the Solar 50 comes with 12 of these different effects. Slide it right in. We have one of 3 different effects on each of the cartridges. We have 3 different parameters right here, each of which have their own CV inputs. And we have a handy blend knob and master volume for our output. Moving over, we have the Polavox filter. It is a 12 dB low-pass filter. You got your resonance, you got your cutoff. Sounds great. You have a nice little CV input here, so you can patch LFO or one of these envelopes right into there. A little bit of an attenuator. You're good to go. Right below that, we have a main mixer. This is going to be for our left-hand side. This is going to be for our right-hand side. This is for any external in, and so we can actually accept high Z input from a micro guitar, external audio line input from any other source, and it runs directly through the filter, directly into the cartridge, and then back out. So you have controls for that here. A built-in piezo contact mic right here. That's what this beautiful little circle is, and we have volume control. Moving down here, contact mic, button, external, button. This controls this envelope follower. So if you wanted to, for example, patch the envelope follower to the CV input for the frequency, or one of these CV inputs, you can get a nice little envelope or gate output. It's very handy. And this button right here means that you can plug in an external audio source and also have a very fun envelope follower gate detector built right in. The last thing that we have right here, voice mixer. So if you wanted to have a little bit more control over the voices that are coming out, you can just dial them in, dial them out. Done. Voice mixer. So now let's take a look at the Solar 50 and build a patch from scratch. Like I said, it takes a little bit of time and fine-tuning to get right into it, so let's start with a concept, because that is truly the most helpful thing you can do when working with the Solar 50. So I'm going to have a couple of these touch plates engaged with these LFOs. I want to have a little bit of movement here, so let's go ahead and start with that. We'll just go with these two right here. So there you have it, the Solar 50 big ambient machine. Very experimental, very big, highly fun. Be sure to like and subscribe. Check us out next time. Come to our shop in Burbank. Check out Signal. We have more details about the Solar 50 and anything else you could possibly imagine. We'll see you next time.